Hey guys, this is Dr. Mcfarland, and on this week's podcast, we're going to talk with David Ussery of GoatRockPro.com, and we're going to talk about his company and his musical endeavors and lots of fun stuff. So, hey David, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, Dr. Mcfarland?
That's right. Oh man,
Should I call you Nate?
you can Nate, Nathan, Nate Dog, whatever you want. It doesn't matter.
Sweet.
So,
Right on.
where are you located in the United States?
Well, I'm in just I'd say about 10 miles north of Seattle, up here in the great state of Washington, Czech. And been up here almost 20 years.
And what brought you to the Seattle area?
I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I've been into music my whole life. Grew up in the church, going to choirs, and then left the church and got into grunge. And of course, the birthplace of grunge is here in Seattle. It's kind of my mecca, I guess.
Yeah.
In high school. So I came up here in high school with a buddy of mine and just fell in love. And when it came to decision in my life a couple of years later, where do I want to end up? And it's like a natural choice for me.
That's cool. I've actually never been to Washington State or even the Seattle area. Does it really rain as much up there as they say it does?
Well, it's a bit of a misnomer. It's more overcast more than it rains all the time.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it does rain quite a bit here. Actually, where I live, they call it the Big Banana or the Convergent Zone. And like that thing where if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes. I've actually seen it. When I first moved up here, I was on the bus going from work back home, and it was both sun shining and hailing at the same time. And I said, I guess I'm home.
Yeah, I know, right?
This place is too weird. I love it.
So you kind of moved up there because you were just in the music, or were you playing in a band, or wanted to be in the band, or what was the reasoning behind moving up there, other than it's just a cool place to live?
Well, yeah, I'd played in bands in high school. Grunge. We did like the super screamo, like Deftones type of stuff. We even did an acoustic tribal thing. We had a group of belly dancers that would come along and perform while we were playing, and just had a great time experimenting with music. But when you're in a band, you tend to usually work in food service.
Right.
And when I got out of high school, didn't really work out with the band so much, and I needed to start making some money. So I ended up going to culinary school, and when I graduated, I got a job up here.
Okay. So you went from music to culinary, and now you kind of sprinkle some more music back in there, as like a side hustle almost, or like a side project.
Well, yeah, I don't get to do it professionally yet. In between the food and then getting married and having kids myself.
Oh yeah.
I started to rediscover music as a dad, and I picked up the guitar and just started like recording again and getting back into music. It wasn't until my second wife actually allowed me to play. That's not an indictment on my ex-wife or anything, but
right.
I fell in love with it again. And as I started to get into the culture again and started going to live shows again, I met these really cool people. They're just down-to-earth, cool musicians. I guess it's been a while since I talked to some really cool people. I just wanted to be a part of it. And it really started to see where I was doing in my life career. It was more about just making money and not my passion. And so I started to look, what can I do that I can start to transition into more of the music industry? And I guess 2020 came at a great time because I've been working from home, and blessed to be able to do that. And I've been able to work on my music business alongside that.
Yeah, it's really cool. So going back to culinary just for a little bit, like, do you run your own restaurant, or like, what does that look like for you?
Well, actually, I ditched the culinary industry about 15 years ago.
Okay.
And went into business and started a couple of different businesses. One was a food cart business that actually never ended up opening. Opened up a deli for a weekend and ended up figuring out that the guy we bought it from didn't actually own the building. It was weird. But I started going to other businesses and ventures and things like that and wanting to make some extra money.
Yeah, maybe you have to vet your sellers a little bit more or something. It's like, hey, do you actually own this building, or what are you actually doing with it?
Yeah. It turns out he was representing the guy who was renting the space.
Ah, okay. Okay.
It was this weird thing, like $500 changed hands, and it was just weird. But
yeah,
we were able to get out of it.
Okay, so you went from culinary and then you kind of ditched that and you moved on to other adventures until you landed on this passion for music again, right?
Yeah.
So what was the tipping point for you as far as just feeling that need to play music again? Like what was it for you that made you want to do that?
Part of it was reuniting with a friend of mine that I had played with in high school. And actually, the name was something that we had talked about when we were in high school. Growing up in Northern California, we went out to Goat Rock Beach a lot, and whenever we were up in that part of the area. And it was always just like, we love that area. And there's actually a big giant rock that posts out of the water. And we always said we wanted to watch the end of the world from that rock.
Right.
I reunited with him. He texted me one night. He's like, hey, do you remember doing all those cool, acoustic stuff with the belly dancers? And, ever think about doing that stuff again? I was like, you know what? I just dusted off my Mac. I just, got my stuff out again. And it just kind of reunited us. And we started collaborating together. And where it really just blew up for me, I went and saw a friend of mine's band at a CD release party. I don't know if you've ever gone to a concert and the opening act blows you away, and then you're like, "Wait, who did I come to see?"
Right. Yeah.
This band gets up there. It's a 6-piece. There's 3 guitarists and drummers and bass, and it was this. The only thing I could describe it is like rockabilly. Progressive punk. I don't know. It blew me away. And this wall of sound, and they were actually called Celia. So I was like, okay, immediately I got to look these guys up. I got to look at where they're going to be next. Can I download their music? And I couldn't find anything. And it was like, what the hell? These guys could be famous. What the hell? And I ended up meeting the singer Nate after the show. I was like, you guys are awesome. He's like, hey, that's great. You know how we can promote? Like, can I talk to the singer over there? Do you think he'd help us? And I was just thinking to myself, man, I wish I could tell more people about you. There's just nothing about you there. And it really just got me thinking like, yes, I love making music with my buddy, with Sean, who's in Code Trauma. And I love being able to collaborate, but I love doing all this other stuff too, the social media management and helping artists who aren't described, don't have any, following on there, be described, sharing their music.
So, it sounds like a very typical story of, I guess, like some, most bands is like, hey, you're amazing on stage, but nobody really knows who you are. Because there's not that online presence,
within a 20-mile radius, they were, huge.
Right.
Probably most of Washington. But it was just, I felt it was a travesty. Like, I loved their music. It was just so awesome. And I wanted to tell more people about it.
Yeah.
And maybe I can do that.
Well, typically, I wouldn't say typically, but sometimes, like, there's at least one member of the band that either is into recording or they really like marketing, or that maybe they know how to do like a website thing, but maybe none of them knew how to do that, right? So they were good at the music side, but not really much of anything else. And that's where people like you come in, right?
Yeah. I mean, some people, like as I'm learning about this business and the things that you can do, I mean, some people just don't know how easy it is or don't want to take the time. Yeah, it's kind of like what radio or what record companies used to do. They used to promote you and, put you up on advertisements and put you on tour. But now you don't need the record company to release music, but you don't get all that other stuff either.
Right.
So like let those, those people who are good at you hire an accountant when you want to get, when you want to save on taxes, why not hire somebody that loves what you do? Like number one fan about your music and what you're doing. Let's get you out there and let's see what we can get going for you at whatever level, right? Like maybe you just got started and you're in a garage. Maybe you've been touring for 10 years, but you haven't gotten any traction. Maybe it just needs a cleanup or, maybe you need consistency, whatever it is.
Right.
And what I think makes this different is that it's almost 100% outsourced. I want members in the community to be able to participate in this. So, digital design, bookers, recording studios, guitar shops, manager, whatever it is, if your band or that project needs it, hey, I can get you the best person here, and I get it because I have the reputation of the relationship with people in the industry that are right here in the community that want to help.
Right. So when people go to goatrockpro.com, I mean, what do you necessarily want them to, see from like the homepage of the website? Like, what's the main goal here?
The main goal right now is just to have a landing page for clients that I'm starting to take on. I'm just now starting to take on new clients. But for people that don't want to, invest in designing a web page, it's a place that they can send them. And they'll have their own dedicated page where their music can be placed there. People can listen and share it. And I want it to be ultimately a community of, hey, let's check out these guys, because it's all from different genres, all different areas. It's a place where people can discover music easily.
Right.
And, from like a grassroots kind of natural, easy, user interface. I don't want to make it too complicated. It's not about goat rock. It's about these other projects, these bands.
Yeah.
It's about promoting them under the umbrella of a production company. It carries a lot more weight when you come with someone, right?
Yeah, totally. Now I'm on the Frantics page here on the website, and if I go down, it gives me some press photos, and then it looks like there's a contact box. Is that a direct contact with the band, or is that for Goat Rock itself?
That goes right to me. In this particular instance, these artists, that's why there's not much of a bio or a whole lot of write-up. They prefer to just kind of remain mysterious right now. They don't. They don't want their specific names associated with the projects. They just want to put out music.
Sure.
And so that's what I give them is just while I have ideas and I have resources to add whatever you'd like, you still have 100% control over the content. Whatever you send me, I'll put on my website and I'll make it available to you. There's also a link tree on the Instagram that has links to each one of their Instagrams, which still are pretty bare bones, but that's because that's how they want them right now. And it's just a way for the people that as they start to pass out and share their music, they have some place to go and get it.
Right.
And as we start moving, we're going to add more and more things. And as we can help more and more people, you can see on the bottom here, or right below, there's this, how do you find out about new music survey? Mm-hmm. So I'm really curious, like, how do people find and become fans of bands again?
Yeah, definitely. Now, I see like there's a store coming soon option here, as well as videos and stuff. how are you going to deal with like the merch side of things? Like source that out like maybe a local t-shirt store that makes their own shirts and just order like however many, or what's that like for you and the artists you represent?
Yeah, there'll be two options as I see it. I mean, they can run through Goat Rock, and I plan on using companies like Teespring and other companies that if they have merch already, hey, I'll put the links up. I'll organize all that, and I will make sure that that part of it's taken care of. As far as they add more and more things, if they have their own website, I'll put that up. If they want me to develop art for them, or designs or ideas for different marketing things, I can help them with that as well.
No, that's great. That's really cool. And as far as the videos go, on the homepage here, I see a guy holding a camera. Do you have your own, like, I guess, video production side of the website of the company, or how does that work?
Well, I mean, honest, it's a stock photo. I do have. I love. I mean, shout out to Bandzilla. It's a great artist website builder. But I have some video stuff. The what do they call it? The thing that turns when you turn. What is the giga thingy or gyroscope? That's what it is.
Yeah.
The gyroscope thing, and I want to move more into that too. But again, I want to promote and create for members in the community. So I'm not the best videographer, but I can do some basic stuff.
Yeah.
But hey, if you want an actual music video, I got the best.
Yeah, it's not about being able to do everything yourself, but just knowing the people you can call on that can make it happen,
Exactly.
Yeah, over the weekend, a woman I go to church with, she is a Spanish teacher, but she's in a singing It's actually a music contest. I mean, there's all kinds of people like doing violin and singing and whatever else, but she's made it through 2 rounds. And this next round, she wanted to do like a 70s song. So she did Dream On by Aerosmith, and she found
Nice.
a backing track to sing over. And then I just took my my camera, Canon M50. We basically recorded it. I shot like the first take of the video here in the studio, and then we went out to our a friend's land that has like tons of trees and rocks and cool scenery. And we just did like 2 other like B-roll kind of things, and I came back to the house and edited it all together. And so now she has her next competition song. That's I think it went out today. So I mean, you don't have. I mean, and I wasn't doing anything fancy for sure. I mean, it's just basic cuts in and out, throwing some text up on the screen, stuff like that. But I know by being a part of a band in the past, we did music videos. I mean, you might do a take in one setup like 10 times, just to get different angles and whatnot. And it's definitely important to know people that have a good eye for like lighting and angles and what you should be doing at a certain point and how to hold your instrument, what not to do on screen, Because that was always my problem of like, I'm the guitar player, but don't put me on video because I look really awkward.
We'll put you in a mask.
Yeah, or something. Something, yeah. So that's good. I'm looking at some other stuff on the website here. We got blog coming soon, music and photos. Yeah, so it looks like it's a great beginning to something that could turn into a long-term, successful thing for you and, whoever the bands you work with. Now, how many other guys do you work with on this?
As far as the company, it's just me.
Okay, it's just you. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had like a partner in crime or something like that.
Well, I mean, my wife is very, very supportive.
Right,
She's my partner in crime.
That's good. You got to have that. Gotta have that for sure. So tell me a little bit more about some of the gear you've been into here lately since you started back into playing music.
Yeah, well, I bought a Schecter Hellraiser about 8 years ago.
Ooh, those are
It's
fun.
the first electric guitar I bought, and I just been using Logic Effects up until I would say probably about 2 years ago, and started to like really like as I'm starting to like get into some of the bands that are local here. I'm like, ooh. That Celia show that I went and saw, he had it's the Schecter with the horns on the headstock. I can't remember
Okay.
what the model is, but it was all white. And I come up to the stage and I'm like it's like I don't know, like seeing a celebrity or something. It's just like I started to get this like love for like these types of guitars. And I started looking into actually my biggest one has been baritones over the last year. I've always really gravitated towards lower tones. I'm mostly a drummer and a singer in the past, so I really dug the bass and was really riding the bass a lot. So I love really low tones. And in my standard guitar, I play an open G already. And that's still not deep enough. So I fell in love. I started looking for baritones. I thought I found one with the PRS, the 277. I was looking at the bun on TV or on YouTube, all the baritonic suggestions and just like going crazy, and looking at all of them. I was like, I found the PRS. I'm getting the PRS. And then I discovered Jericho. My friend Josh, who's in a couple of bands up here, plays a Jericho baritone. And that was it. And so it's taken me about another year to actually get it. But I got the Walnut Fusion with the Evertune bridge, which I just tuned for the first time today. It's a
cool.
little bit... it's a little daunting. I've normally just had normal tuning pegs up to this point. I just had the Schecter. And then as far as effects go, I've been really struggling just to be able to control my effects. Dealing with, been diagnosed with ADHD as an adult. Workflow is everything, and having to stop and click on effects and then change. I would get, a minute into the song, writing, the dreaded 16-bar loop, couldn't get out of it because I just needed something. And so I looked around for MIDI controllers Logic has plenty of great modeling software. It's really cool, but I can't control it with my feet.
Right.
And so I started looking around. I found one that was just like a MIDI controller, but with a lot of things with Logic and Apple, they don't always play well together like they say they will on the videos.
Right.
You see a video and like, oh, it looks it's exactly what I'm asking, exactly what I want to do. And then you go to do it and it doesn't work.
No way. I
you
can't
follow
believe
the steps. You follow the steps and it doesn't work. And then that's where the head rush came in. I looked at processors in the past, but I never had one when I was playing guitar in high school. I had a Metal Zone and a Heavenly Chorus boss pedal. That was it. And I could turn them on and turn them off whenever I wanted. It was so much fun.
Right.
But some of my friends would get processors and like it just looked like you had to program and get the book out. I'm like, oh Christ.
Yeah.
When it comes to technical manuals, I CC levels and I can't. I just want to play. So the head rush, I'm looking at some videos and I come across your videos and I'm like, oh my God, this thing, it does everything I need it to do. It labels everything for you.
Yeah.
It's plug and play. And the only thing I couldn't figure out is the exact input output. And that's where I met up with you. And since then I've been deep diving into all the tones and stuff. And actually, funny story, I found on Marketplace, that's where I found Head Rush. And actually got a client out of it, at least for some promotion.
Yeah.
She's a bass player in the area, resident bass player with a band here, and she was trying to get bass tones out of it and just didn't like it as much and moved on to something else. And we struck up a friendship and liked each other on Instagram. And it's like, that's what I love about this community. I haven't really been in a music community any other town, really. The town I grew up in, Vallejo, was more of a like a rap or more of an urban town, and there wasn't a whole lot of rock. There was some, but we were kind of made fun of in high school. This is the first time I've been around these people, and they've just been so helpful. And as soon as the lockdown happened, they were just like right up there. Hey, we're doing live bedroom performances. Hey, we're trying to get together. I was part of a music organization that wanted to find out the fastest way that they could start getting professional musicians paid.
That's cool.
A lot of tours were canceled. A lot of people that were coming out. The band Dragged Under that had gone on tour with The Used, and we're about to go on tour again. That was canceled. My friend Josh Wildhorn's in both bands, Designer Disguise, was going to be on tour. They didn't. That got canceled. Luckily, both of them got signed over the quarantine, and they're actually able to make some plans for European tours and things like that. But Seattle, I don't know. It feels like we really stepped up, and it felt like a lot of people on the internet. Now we have this vehicle that allows us to. We can't go to the club. Who cares? I have to pay for parking and get beer spilled on me all night, but right. I get to see my favorite band. And they were like, "Yeah, let's find new ways of doing things." And it wasn't that long before other people started to do the same thing. But I love, as far as the question about gear, I love gear. I watch YouTube videos about gear and tutorials all the time.
Right.
I'm constantly looking at stuff. So.
Oh yeah. I'm in the same boat, my friend.
I could work at Guitar Center for free if they didn't go on, for bankruptcy.
Yeah. Well, I was at Guitar Center from September of last year till like late February, and I felt like I was working for free for the amount of money I made. So there you go.
I heard it. They didn't really treat their employees well, but
yeah. I made a video on this last year, I think, but I've owned about 30 amps over the years. And it's just quite ridiculous. It really is. But that's the beauty of the Head Rush is like I have at least those amps, if not more, all for the price of like one amp, like one really good amp. And
yeah.
I was playing I got a new guitar for my birthday, which was an Eastman T59, which is like basically a Gibson 335 style guitar.
Ooh,
and
nice.
I have a Bassman model called up in this rig with a little bit of reverb, and man, it sounds nice. It sounds so good.
Yeah. That would, like you had mentioned on the phone call, I guess, like we had talked about, wanting to have a dry signal and that kind of a thing. And right. You were like, well, it sounds awesome already. Why do I mean, later on, if you're in, Time Warner Studios and you're putting your double length CD out, maybe then you could worry about a dry signal too. But I mean, who cares? It sounds freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can use all the IRs from all the modeling plugins I bought already. So,
and that's one thing I haven't really dived into yet in Apple Logic or Logic Pro 10 is I know it has like tons of amps and effects and stuff, and I've dabbled with it just very briefly. I think I'm missing something though because it's just not dialed in like to where it really sounds that good to me. But hey, it's just another tool, right? If you need to create some music or get a quick idea down, you can just pull up whatever you have and lay it down, and maybe you can recreate it later with like maybe a better tone. But that's the
As
thing.
long as I remember how to play it.
Yeah, that's another thing too, for sure.
Logic has it did actually really the new 10.5 or whatever with the live loops has been incredible for song inspiration.
Right.
You pull a couple of just like and for recording too, because you're basically recording into a little window, and when you're done, you've got a loop, and then you play it whenever you want. So for arranging, like let's say you get all of your tone and all your pieces together, now you record them all. Now you just play them and record the performance, and there's your arrangement.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's been really helpful to like, I just need a beat. I need a melody or something to follow to write a guitar part to or what have you. And bam, I've got it right there.
Yeah. Well, my issue right now is I've been a Reaper user for about 10 years. And I know I'm really good at Reaper, but trying to take those same concepts and applying them to another DAW is like, I know Logic can do like similar things, just so like maybe it's a different key command or a different order of doing something, but it's just learning like the similarities and the differences and taking the best parts from each one and just making it happen, because I just finished producing a full song using Drummer. I use some virtual instruments like a piano and some pad stuff. And I actually recorded live strings for this song, which is really cool. But now I basically have taken all those tracks in Logic, consolidated them down, and then I'm importing those into Harrison Mixbus to actually mix in.
Cool.
Not that I can't mix in Logic. There's still some things in there that I'm just not very fast in. And I could get the song done in a week if I stayed in Logic, or I could just get it done in one night if I mixed it in Mixbus. So
you know what you know, right?
I know what
like
I
you
know,
said, it's
yeah.
just a tool. It's something that you can, it's like, oh, you know what? I know there's this really cool, synth on Logic. I'll record a little piece to that and dump it wherever it is. My buddy Sean uses, you said Reason, right? I don't know why I kept thinking it's, Reaper. Yeah. Sorry. So yeah, you use what you use. I only use Logic because I started with GarageBand because it was free.
Right.
And I, it's kind of like why I still have an iPhone. I've already invested.
Yeah, well, it makes total sense. Yeah, I'm recording my voice right now in Reaper just because I know it's like, well,
cool.
it's easy to mix down and edit later on. So what other...
it's like your first guitar.
I know, right? So other than the Schecter, what other guitars do you have, if any?
So I actually doubled down this year. I bought 2 Jericho guitars. So I bought the their scale is just a little bit. It's 25 3/4.
Okay, so a little bit longer.
It's a Fusion, so it looks like a Telecaster, but it has like Les Paul controls.
Okay.
And gorgeous guitar. It's super, just super easy to play. Really, just a fast neck, and just amazing. I've never had the 3-position switch like you would have on a Les Paul.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to kind of make some different noises. Almost have a kill switch sometimes. I've got the Jericho Fusion baritone, so they look exactly the same, except the regular scale is pitch black.
Yeah.
And kind of got a carved top. The baritone kind of looks like a I don't know, table. Solid walnut, weighs like 1,000 pounds. But man, it's crazy. I don't feel like I have large hands but my fingers are larger. So I've had problems playing like Fenders or smaller.
Oh man.
I don't play solos, but with these 2 Jerichos, they're slightly larger, and especially the baritones at 27, I almost feel like I can play some solo type notes or at least some melodies because I feel like my fingers fit on the frets. I bought a Fender Hellcat. It's acoustic electric. It's freaking awesome. It's a little bit shorter scale, but it's loud as hell. That's the only Fender that I have. Well, I got a Schecter stiletto bass, which I don't get to play as much.
Yeah.
And I have a Yamaha acoustic guitar.
Yeah, those are great. That's like one of those workhorse acoustics that just sound good. They take a beating, and you can keep playing them. But I'm on the Jericho website right now, and these guitars look pretty amazing.
Yeah, the workmanship is. I mean, they sound amazing. You only have to be a little patient. It can take anywhere from, I got lucky, but I waited. It can take anywhere between 6 to 9 months, depending on when where you are in the build cycle.
Right.
I actually just bugged the hell out of them until they, returned my email. It wasn't that hard to get an email response, but just kind of like, hey, I want to buy one of these. When are they going to be? When are you going to start shipping them out? Because I didn't want to have to wait 6 months.
Right.
And so I just waited and waited and waited, and it finally actually turned out that I could had enough money saved up that I could actually to buy it, and it only took 2 months to get here.
That's cool.
But I couldn't wait, so I bought the other Jericho in the meantime on Reverb. Yeah, it's the Walnut Fusion Evertune.
Yeah,
they make a 7 and 8 string too, and they just came out with the two or the dark shadow line, which are really cool too. Like I was like. That was a problem when I was looking for baritones. Like every time I would find one I thought I really wanted, then I would see one that had like, so you always, unless you're making custom and you're on Kiesel and spending like $10,000, you're always going to substitute something that you wanted.
Yeah.
And so then I would find another guitar like, okay, well that has the Evertune. That's what I want. Oh, but it doesn't have this. Okay. Well, okay, that's fine. I can deal with that.
So the Evertune system, like what is that? Describe that for me.
So it's like a really friendly Floyd Rose, in that, Floyd Rose gets a bad reputation of just being super complicated and the strings have to be, a certain way.
Oh yeah.
What this does is it basically puts your string on like an endless pulley system type of thing. Where it's not really tied down anywhere. It's just kind of held in suspension. And so it holds it there. So no matter what you do with the string, it doesn't go out of tune.
Wow.
When it came in the mail, it was already in tune, and it wasn't. And I mean, I didn't have to tune it, but just like this last couple of days, it's been just a sly bit flat. So I wanted to try to, but basically the difference is there's 3 zones. Now, the offshoot of having the Evertune keep your guitar in tune all the time is it doesn't allow you to like make bends on your strings. You can adjust it so it will do both. But you basically just have to, the tuning pegs don't have anything to do with the tension. They just bring it from one zone to the next.
Right.
And once you're in the zone that you want it to be in, then you just tune it down at the bridge with a little hex key.
Yeah.
And it just fits right in there.
I see a key on
the strings go in normally through the back.
Yeah.
And then you have locking tuners on the headstock.
So you literally can't bend a note, right?
Unless you put it unless you set it that way, you can have it kind of do a little bit of both, or you can have it not bend at all. So you'd bend the string and the note doesn't change.
Weird.
It's really cool. I
That
mean, you
is
look it up
weird.
on YouTube, like and then you see the guy, he's just wailing, like picks up the strings and just pulling on them.
Yeah.
Doesn't go out of tune at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up because that's blowing my mind.
Especially with a baritone, where you're always worried about intonation and going out of tune with the longer scale and all that kind of stuff. This just holds it. It doesn't go anywhere.
Wow. Well, I guess for a rhythm player, I mean that's kind of the perfect setup because I mean you don't do a lot of bends anyway, right? So.
Right. And just for rhythmic type of things, so I have it set a little bit, so I have to pull the string a little bit more, and it'll give you a little bit of a bend. But yeah, I don't do all the fast solos or
All the crazy
big
stuff.
bends and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
But you could if you wanted to. Of course, it's a baritone because they have the baritone is just an option. You could get the same in the normal with the Evertune, and you can move it into this position where it will allow you to play it normally with bends.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, I'm looking at the prices. I mean, even the prices are, I mean, they're right in range to what the quality and craftsmanship that you would expect to be. So, I mean, because I'm a huge Reverend guitar proponent, and I got 4 of them myself, and they're all different models, but I just love them to death. But you can find them brand new for around $1,000, and used. If you find it used, you can probably find it for like maybe $600-700. So it's like, that range is a really good sweet spot for the higher end guitar manufacturers where you're not spending $3,000 on a really nice instrument. You still get a great instrument, but it's still budget friendly.
If you don't mind waiting, their pre-sale prices, like for the Evertune, it's $9.99. Normally, it's $16.99.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you don't mind waiting, 5-6 months, you get a really good deal for the same guitar.
Yeah, and it's almost like if you were going to take 6 months to save the money anyway,
Right.
It's like, what's the difference? You just go ahead and spend it now, and then in 6 months you've got the savings, and you get the guitar. So.
I don't think they charge you until the run is over. Like once I don't think they charge until I'll have to check. It's such a small window for me. I don't think they charge you until it's actually in their hands from the manufacturer. So it may, especially if you wait that long.
It's kind of like the Quad Cortex situation that they had back at NAMM. It was like, hey, put $200 down, and then don't pay for the rest until it actually comes out, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. I'm so mad. I want to go to NAMM so bad.
Yeah, I got gypped big time this last year. I really wanted to go, but just between work or the lack of work and not having any money and paying for plane tickets, and then I had a friend that lived in California that I was going to try and stay with, but then it was just too last minute, and he already had somebody else staying with him. So everything just kind of fell apart as far as actually getting to go to the winter NAMM. Because I always go to the summer NAMM because it's just here in Nashville. I mean, I could just drive 30 minutes up the road, and there it is. But
right. Go home at night.
I know, right? Well, I usually just go up for a day, and I go on like Music Industry Day or whatever it's called, and get like a $25 pass because I'm a music influencer, or I don't know whatever you call it, but basically if you're like a music teacher or some kind of like influencer or something, you can get like a cheap pass that's like way less than like what a normal person would buy it for. But yeah, NAMM is always great. I just love the atmosphere and looking at new stuff. And
God, I would be in so trouble. I would have to leave my credit card with my wife. Like there would be no way.
Right. Well, the bad thing is you would be taking notes the whole time or taking pictures the whole time. It was like, I want to buy this, and I want to buy that, and when I get home, I'm going to look into that. And
wish listing, calendaring, like putting it out. Like, okay, I got 6 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
for sure.
it's definitely probably a good thing though, because as long as you can sleep on it, then you'll probably wake up the next morning saying to yourself, "Well, it was a cool guitar, but I really don't need it, but I really want it."
Yeah.
So I don't need that
I like
guitar.
every giveaway on Instagram for a guitar. Like, and I'm like, okay, I'll put my email in there. It'd be kind of cool to win a new guitar.
Yeah, sure would. Sure would. Well, David, this has been a fun conversation. I love meeting new people, and just like you said, on a whim, we just kind of chatted about some head rush stuff and some recording, and found out what you did. And I thought it would be a great topic for a podcast. So thanks for coming on and chatting about Goat Rock Productions and all your musical endeavors. And hopefully it inspired somebody else out there to maybe pick up a guitar, or maybe just act on an idea that they were sitting on for a while, that they just kind of were fearful of, like failure maybe. And, I say just go for it. We don't know if we're going to be here tomorrow, right? So might as well just, go for it, and do your best to help others and have fun in the process. So
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it was actually pretty cool that we connected, because I mean, I didn't expect this type of the phone call and then the opportunity for a podcast. So I was just like thinking you send me a text link or something like that, and that's kind of like what I'm all about, like having people just being that personable,
yeah,
fans and people that are in the industry. They love that kind of vulnerability, that kind of personability. Obviously, there's a thin line. I've noticed when you see some people that say something wrong on YouTube they didn't know was wrong, and they get chastised for it. But
yeah,
it's that kind of like wanting to connect and wanting to share music that really drew me to your channel, and I'm super thank you for the opportunity. And hopefully we can work together on something in the future.
yeah, definitely. Thanks, guys, for checking out the podcast today. If you want to contact David, then go to goatrockpro.com. And if you're a band or know a band that needs his services, then go ahead and check him out. And I know he'll do his best to help you out the best way he can. So we will be back soon with another podcast. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast if you haven't done so already, and leave a 5-star review to let me know what you think about the podcast so far. So keep rocking, guys. We'll see you in the next one.